When the offseason arrived, the world expected Caitlin Clark to disappear into private training sessions, brand meetings, or maybe even a tropical vacation. Instead, she spent her time doing something few superstars her age ever think about: feeding 300 families across the Midwest and mending fences in the WNBA's most fragile power dynamic. For Clark, the months away from basketball became a defining chapter in her story, one built on generosity, leadership, and an unshakable understanding that greatness extends far beyond the court. It began in Iowa, the place that shaped her into a household name. As most athletes rested or negotiated endorsement deals, Caitlin and her foundation quietly got to work. The Caitlin Clark Foundation, born from her belief in three simple but powerful values: education, sport, and nutrition, was about to make its biggest impact yet. Through a partnership with Hy-Vee, one of her earliest sponsors, she launched a campaign asking shoppers to round up their grocery bills to support families in need. A few cents at a time, those small gestures turned into something extraordinary. By the end of the drive, the campaign had raised over $300,000, enough to provide more than 3 million meals to people struggling with food insecurity. For Clark, this wasn't just a PR move or a convenient photo op. It was deeply personal. Growing up, she saw firsthand how communities depend on each other, how a small act of kindness can change an entire family's outlook. When she spoke about it later, her words revealed the sincerity behind the mission. Nutrition, she said, is the foundation for every child's success, in school, in sports, in life. A child can't chase their dreams on an empty stomach, she explained, and that understanding drove her to act. Her foundation has followed through on that belief since its creation in 2023. She's given away thousands of books with Scholastic, donated Nike backpacks to schools, and even helped build a mini soccer pitch at Weeks Middle School to give kids a safe space to play. Every move she makes is about lifting others, not just entertaining them. The most telling detail from the Hy-Vee partnership wasn't the check itself, though. It was who stood beside her holding it, her brother. The moment captured what Caitlin Clark's rise has always been about: family, community, and commitment. Her success hasn't changed her roots, it's amplified them. She's using her fame not as a shield from the world, but as a bridge to help others cross it. But while her off-court efforts were earning admiration, a far more complicated challenge was brewing in the league she now defined. Behind closed doors, the WNBA faced the potential of a devastating lockout. The league's collective bargaining agreement was about to expire, and negotiations between players and the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, had reached a breaking point. Tensions were high. Players demanded fairer pay, better travel accommodations, and a more equitable share of league revenue. Many of them had long criticized Engelbert for failing to prioritize their interests. The idea of working with her, or even trusting her, seemed impossible. The timing couldn't have been worse. Thanks to the so-called Caitlin Clark effect, the WNBA was enjoying record-breaking ratings, sold-out arenas, and unprecedented cultural relevance. A lockout would have wiped that progress away overnight. Players debated their options. Should they hold firm and risk shutting down the league, or find a way to compromise? When Engelbert proposed a 30-day extension to continue talks, all eyes turned to Clark, the league's most visible star and biggest marketing engine. Her influence in the decision was quiet but undeniable. Caitlin could have used her leverage to play hardball. With multi-million-dollar endorsement deals from Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm, she was one of the few players financially secure enough to withstand a lockout. Many believe she could have led a rebellion, a power move to reshape the league entirely in the player's image. But instead, she chose diplomacy. She supported the extension, urging the Players Association to keep negotiating rather than walking away. It was a move that spoke volumes about her priorities. She wasn't just thinking about herself. She was thinking about the 150 other women in the league whose livelihoods depended on the season continuing. For those players, a lockout didn't mean making a statement. It meant losing rent money, medical benefits, and momentum. That choice to support continued negotiation, even with someone as polarizing as Engelbert, was a turning point. It showed a side of Clark that the public hadn't fully seen yet. The leader, the unifier, the businesswoman who understood the bigger picture. She didn't need to win every argument. She needed to keep the game alive. In a way, that willingness to collaborate with the league's most criticized figure symbolized something larger. Caitlin Clark was learning to balance principle with pragmatism. She was showing what real leadership looks like when the cameras aren't rolling. In the end, the lockout never came. Negotiations continued, and the WNBA season moved forward. Insiders quietly credited Clark's influence with helping stabilize a tense situation. While she never made a public speech or issued a bold statement about it, her presence loomed large in every meeting, every decision. The rookie phenom who once captivated audiences with deep threes and impossible passes was now shaping the league's future through calm, calculated leadership. Her offseason, then, wasn't just about good deeds and goodwill. It was about growth. In less than a year, Caitlin Clark transformed from a record-breaking rookie into a force guiding the league's culture, economy, and direction. She used her platform to feed families, inspire children, and steer a professional sports organization through one of its most precarious moments. That's not just a busy offseason, that's legacy work. By the time she appeared in New York for a luncheon celebrating her as one of Time magazine's Athletes of the Year and Forbes' most powerful women, the picture was clear. Caitlin Clark had become something the WNBA had always needed but never quite found. A star who could elevate everyone around her. She wasn't chasing headlines or feuds. She was building something sustainable, a model for what women's sports could become when talent meets purpose. From autograph lines in Iowa to boardrooms in Manhattan, she carried herself with a quiet power that demanded respect. And yet, she's still the same person who dreams about learning an instrument. Still humble enough to laugh about what she can't do, even as she redefines what an athlete can. Her foundation continues to expand its reach. Her partnerships are growing, and her connection with fans remains unbreakable. But perhaps the most impressive thing about Caitlin Clark's offseason is that it revealed how much she values being part of something larger than herself. She's not content to just be the best player. She wants to be the reason the game itself gets better. For fans watching from the sidelines, her story is more than inspiring. It's a blueprint for what leadership in sports should look like. The combination of compassion and composure, activism and strategy, empathy and excellence. That's what makes her stand apart. She's proving that greatness doesn't end when the buzzer sounds. It continues in every life you touch, every table you help fill, and every bridge you choose to build instead of burn. So, what do you think of Caitlin Clark's incredible offseason? Does her work feeding families and supporting the WNBA through crisis change the way you see her as an athlete and leader? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found her story as inspiring as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because stories like this are only just beginning.